You sleep there 20 hours a day. I just need to be here for a couple of hours. Really? On the desk now? Disclaimer. No animals were harmed in the making of this collage. Perhaps my cat's ego was, because he was removed from his favorite place, which is my chair in my studio, and then he proceeded to lay down or sit down on this mat, and that wasn't going to happen. He is now resting comfortably on a very soft pillow in the hall closet, so he's fine. He'll be just fine, and he will have his chair back in a couple of hours. In the meantime, I was going through an old Smithsonian magazine and found some really cool imagery. And slowly but surely, I'm coming up with some ideas. I also went through my mail, and just as I shared before, I do get bills, and those security envelopes have some wonderful patterns on them. That was a trick I learned from Mia Bloom Designs. I'm going to put a link to her channel in the description because I've learned so much about collage from Mia. And this was just one of the wonderful little tricks that I'd like to incorporate maybe in this collage, but I've started saving these envelopes, not just to store little pieces of ephemera, but to use them as elements of design. So I'm excited. Thank you, Miss Mia. And yeah, give her channel a try because, like I said, I've learned so much about the technique. I'm going to put them off to the side right now and play with my Smithsonian stuff. And also another mailer. This came in my mail for the World Wildlife Federation. I love this tiger. I think he's going to play a part in what I'm going to do. I also have a nice black and white background and some colorful backgrounds from some paintings. I'm going to alter them, of course. And then there is this really neat old-fashioned tape measure. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I thought that I might be headed in the direction of a mailer collage. I am going to start with something small and see what comes up with this. Let's start cutting, and I will think in time-lapse. Of ephemera came from, again, a Smithsonian magazine, a contemporary, well, sort of pretty much contemporary, a 2020, I think it was a GQ, and a mailer. I will tell you about the Smithsonian. If you go to the back of one of those old magazines, they have so many cool little ads in the back. Grab those because they can add some really nice interest, and then it takes you back. So this is definitely from the 80s, and I just kind of get myself a good little laugh when I read these ads. So I had a lot of fun going through my Smithsonian and grabbing all of these possible images for, gosh, any type of collage. Lots and lots of fun. Lots of illustrations, too. And, of course, Smithsonian itself has wonderful pictures that you can use later, too. And I found that magazine in the park. So I was pretty thrilled with that. So this piece is coming together. I might use that alligator. And then this, the vintage magazine, can't remember which one. I think it was one of those old home magazines that I've used before. Here's a Pierre Cardin ad for a his and hers watch. I think it might add some interest in this piece. And this also came from that same magazine, the Home magazine. But this was from my mailer, actually an envelope, and some pretty good quality paper. Can stand up to a lot because it was the outside of that envelope. She is my focal point, her and the tiger. I like the black and white image. It has so many possibilities. It's a photo, of course, and the red in her, it's a kimono, right? Or an obi. I'm not very good with my Japanese history, so correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a little bit of red going on, and I think that the background here will pull it out nicely. I cut along these arms here because I want to look like she's embracing this tiger. Tuck him in here. So we have a nice contrast. This is where it's going, I think. But I like the background here has a nice ethereal background, almost smoky, with something that almost reminds me of, it's not a teacup, but something maybe of a tea ceremony, and we have the woman here that could be representative of that. No, there aren't any tigers in Japan, but he's just too cool to pass up. As for the watches, so we have a lot going on up in this area. So this upper quadrant, I'm just going to put the ladies' watch, and on the other quadrant, to balance everything out, the men's watch. I have this tape measure. There's a term for it. I will bug my editor and have him put something perhaps at the bottom of the screen to say what this really is supposed to be. I love these rulers, these folded out rulers. I use them when I do assemblage. So when I saw it in paper form, I couldn't resist. So I was going to put it here and just kind of like have it on its own. But I think I want to maybe tuck it behind the tiger and the woman. Maybe something like this. And if that's the case, I might be cutting this black and white image down a little bit more. I also went ahead and cut out this vase from the Smithsonian and also this picture of Abraham Lincoln. Why? Maybe because he's black and white and might offset, but I think we're getting to a place now where less is more. We don't want to put on too much. I thought about maybe tucking this here. We can always use it for another collage. It's cut and ready to go. And then I thought about putting Lincoln here. I don't know why. I just thought it might be kind of different, but I also don't want to overload the scene. So I'm going to put them over here for now. I'm not totally feeling it. I grabbed this little coin, very small ad from the Smithsonian. Let's see. And then this alligator. I thought he might be cool. If I do add the alligator, I want to add another animal element maybe. I have a kangaroo from the same ad. Tigers and alligators obviously are dangerous. So is that the message I'm trying to convey? No, but I may want another animal there, and I may want it to be something of a dangerous animal. So I'm going to go back to time-lapse, and I'm going to cut these guys out and see if they're going to find a new home in this collage. Little ink drawings from a magazine, and they are set free. I'm thinking about putting my kangaroo there and my alligator perhaps here. If anything, like I shared before, I might cut this background down just a little bit. might be an idea. And if that's the case, I might cut this down also. Let's remove everything before we do any sort of cutting. Keep those animals in mind. Let's see. I don't really work with any sort of size restriction. I just kind of think it out. I don't think about it in terms of, oh, I'm going to cut a 1/4 of an inch off or something like that. I just kind of eyeball it. Nice clean cut. That might work. This doesn't, you know what, the red background doesn't really need to be cut, because what I'll probably do when I scan the finished collage into Photoshop, I can crop this as much as I'd like. And I have the freedom to crop it without losing any of the integrity of the collage. I believe I want to do something like this. And it would, obviously, I would be doing that cutting on the sides more so than anything else. Should be okay. Yeah, that was a good cut. I'm glad I cut the black and white background. That worked. Make that a little more centralized. Get her pet tiger in here. Come on, guy. Getting caught on her hand. Don't want that. Okay. Do I need to make any cuts on the tiger? I don't think so. Overlap her here. I do want him to be very streamlined so that he's resting there. So it almost makes you wonder which is the true focal point. Is it the woman or the tiger? Why am I keeping that tape measure thingy, or whatever it's called? I do like the balance. There's a little bit of yellow here, a little bit of yellow here. Actually, yellow and black, and kind of an orangey yellow and black there. I still want to stay with my watch. I think I'll have the ruler overlap the watch a bit. I have no idea what I'm trying to say or do here, other than have some fun with some images. Have that right. I wanted the edge of her kimono to meet the edge of the black and white paper, black and white background. And there, okay, something along those lines. Okay, so here is the question. Do I add these animals? They are interesting. Definitely interesting. They almost have like a Darwinian quality about them. Thought about doing something like this. But I think it's too much. That's just me. It's a little bit too much, so set them off to the side for the next collage, maybe. Otherwise, I think I can call this done. This is a simpler collage. Or is it, Less is more. I am finding, for me, less is way more with collage. And that's not a bad thing, and it's also a preference, because I see some really wonderful collage artists out there that have a ton of different ephemera on the picture plane, and it works. For me right now, where I'm at with my craft, this makes me happy. This is good. So in this case, because we have a lot of small pieces, yes, I could tape it down, and I can also, I think I will tape it down. I think everything can be taped. I prefer that. So I'm going to go ahead off camera, and I'm going to tape it down and be right back. very last minute changes in there, and even more cutting of that black and white photo background. Pleased with it because I felt there was some major empty space going on in that lower quadrant, so I'm pleased with how it turned out. I wanted to get rid of that, and I think we can call it done. There's a little bit of maybe unevenness going on this side because there's a lot more activity here. Don't know if it needs something over on this side. I grabbed the kangaroo, but I just feel the kangaroo or the alligator are going to be too much. There was my original vase, but I think also that might be too much. I did not glue anything down. In not gluing anything down, that actually gives me a lot of leeway to make changes and tuck things in. I just used the packing tape. It's cleaner. There's no bubbling going on. And again, if I need to change direction, I can. I have that ability. So my concern again is this is a little bit on the empty side. But I think I'm going to call it done unless I can think of something else that belongs here. I may want to use this background in something else someday. So right now, just going to tape it with some drafting tape. And we will scan it into Photoshop and put up this video. Yes, we're going to call it done. You know what? I wish I had another little watch. I think another watch might help. This might be okay. If you see anything in the final image, then you'll know what my thinking process was. But all in all, I think it's a nice little piece. That was a lot of fun. I haven't done collage for a while, so this felt good. This was just a very basic collage, simple, surreal, and very satisfying. That's it. That's what, well, no, wait a minute. I'm looking at this. So there's this. Okay, and we can do this because that's what giving ourselves that inside feedback. Doing that self-evaluation is very important as artists and also in other areas of life. It all applies. Maybe it will be too much. Could also do something like this. I don't think I want to though. Does it solve the problem? Or does it create a new problem? Maybe, maybe not. Let's turn it upside down. When all else fails, just turn it upside down. You may have another perspective, just gives you another perspective. It does help in the balance of objects. It does help. Do I want to cut away that? I think I will. I'm just going to cut away a little bit more because it's not a focal point. It's just there to help our focal points. In fact, I'm going to cut this little edge out, make it look like a arch of some sort. And it matches with the color scheme, which I'm very happy with. It can overlap a bit. Should it overlap or not? And the orange even matches with everything. If I overlap, that might be good because this watch face overlaps. we're almost done. I'm, again, just exploring what might, what's going to make the composition stronger. Okay, I'm good with that. I think I like that. I should have a little bit more tape left, just enough to secure it. Just a little bit. So that's where I want it. Oops, I forgot I taped it on here. Everything's good. Okay. Just gonna tape it on here. This is very sloppy the way I'm doing things. I think we're on there good. Okay. Okay, I feel better now. There was just something that didn't feel exactly right, but I'm happier with that now. A little bit more of a balance. It also has something, it's not a clock, it's an old pinball machine, but it has that feeling of a clock face, some numbers, but it's a pinball machine. It's also circular, so it kind of corresponds, and we have the numbers up here. It's weird how that happens with collage. I didn't set out to have anything to do with numbers, but there are numbers going on here with a clock, a tape measure, a pinball machine, and a geisha, and a tiger. So it sounds like a fairy tale. Thank you so much for joining me again this week, and I will see you in the next video.